The old folks whispered about it, a tale told in hushed tones, barely audible, a story that sent shivers down your spine. It was the legend of the abandoned bank, a place consumed by darkness and despair. Some said it was cursed, others claimed it was haunted by spirits. Everyone agreed it was best left alone. The town held its breath whenever the bank was mentioned. It was a scar on their history, a chilling reminder of a crime gone wrong, and the ghostly vengeance that followed. They said the bank was guarded, but not by living souls, only shadows. The First National Bank stood at the edge of town, a skeletal silhouette against the dying light. Its windows like empty eyes stared out at the world, boarded up and forgotten. The paint peeled like scabs on old wounds. The iron bars on the windows rusted like decaying teeth. The wind howled through the gaps in the walls, creating mournful sighs. The floorboards groaned under the weight of secrets. Dust swirled in the stale air, thick with the scent of decay. This wasn't just an abandoned building, it was a tomb of forgotten dreams, a place where fear festered. They called themselves the Shadow Syndicate, three daring criminals, each with a reputation darker than the last. They were known far and wide, their names whispered in fear and awe. Max, the mastermind, was as cool as a winter wind. His plans were intricate, his strategies flawless. He could see 10 steps ahead, always anticipating the next move. His eyes held the glint of calculated risk. Every decision he made was a gamble, but one he was confident he would win. Rita, the safecracker, had nerves of steel and fingers nimbler than a magician's. She could crack any lock, open any safe, and do it all with a smile on her face. And then there was Spike, the muscle. His strength was unmatched, his loyalty unwavering. A mountain of a man with a temper to match. When things got rough, Spike was the one who ensured they came out on top. The legend of the haunted bank was just a story to them. They had heard the tales, the whispers of ghosts and curses, a fairy tale to scare children. To them, it was nothing more than a challenge, a test of their skills and bravery. They scoffed at the whispers. Ghosts and curses were for the superstitious, not for the likes of them. Fear was for the weak. They thrived on danger, on the thrill of the unknown, and they were anything but weak. Their confidence was unshakable, their resolve unbreakable. They craved wealth, power, and the thrill of the impossible. Every heist was a new adventure, a new opportunity to prove themselves. The abandoned bank was just another obstacle in their path, a puzzle to be solved, a fortress to be conquered, an opportunity to prove their daring. They meticulously planned every detail, leaving nothing to chance. They would show the town what happened when shadows dared to dance in the daylight. The Shadow Syndicate was ready to make their mark, to etch their names into the annals of history. With each passing moment, they were in. The vault door slowly swung open, revealing the treasure trove within. They had planned for months, and now it was all coming to fruition. The heist was well underway, but something felt wrong. A sense of unease began to creep in, gnawing at the edges of their confidence. They exchanged worried glances, each one silently questioning if they had missed something. An unseen presence watched them, lurking in the shadows. It was as if the darkness itself had eyes, observing their every move. The feeling of being watched grew stronger, sending shivers down their spines. They were not alone. The temperature plummeted, a bone-chilling cold descended upon the bank, seeping into their bones. Max's breath formed frosty clouds in the air. His skin prickled with goosebumps. He could hear it then, a faint whisper swirling around them. It spoke of sorrow, of betrayal, of a tragedy long past. The shadows in the bank seemed to deepen, writhe, and twist, taking on monstrous shapes in the periphery of their vision. A cold, clammy hand brushed against Max's neck, sending a jolt of fear through him. He spun around, but there was no one there, just the oppressive silence and the growing feeling that they were not alone. They were intruders in a sacred space, and they were about to pay the price. A spectral figure coalesced from the shadows, a man in a tattered security guard uniform, his face obscured by an ethereal glow. His eyes burned with a cold fire, reflecting the injustice of a life cut short. He was the bank's eternal guardian, bound to protect it even in death. The air crackled with energy. A wave of terror washed over the criminals. Their confidence shattered like a mirror dropped on a marble floor. Spike stumbled back, his bravado gone. Rita's tools clattered to the ground, her face pale with terror. Max, his heart pounding in his chest, knew they had made a terrible mistake. This was no ordinary heist. They had stumbled into a nightmare. Panic seized them. The heist was forgotten. Survival was their only goal. They scrambled towards the exit, their blood-chilling screams echoing through the empty bank. The ghostly figure pursued them relentlessly, his spectral hand outstretched, his touch promising a fate worse than death. The heavy oak doors seemed to slam shut on their own, barring their escape. They were trapped, caught in a desperate struggle against an unseen force. The temperature plunged further, the air growing heavy with despair. Their greed had led them to this, and now they were about to pay the price. But what would that price be? The police arrived to find the Shadow Syndicate huddled on the bank steps. Their eyes were wide with terror, their faces ashen. They babbled incoherently about ghosts, shadows, and an icy cold that seeped into their bones. The officers exchanged uneasy glances. This was no ordinary break-in. Inside, the bank was in disarray. Tools lay scattered on the floor, abandoned in haste. The security footage showed the criminals entering the bank with their usual swagger. But then, the footage became distorted. The temperature gauge plummeted, shadows danced in the frame, and then, a chilling sight, a translucent figure materializing out of thin air. The officers watched in disbelief. Was this real? Or had the legend of the haunted bank finally driven someone mad? The story of the haunted heist spread like wildfire. The town, once skeptical, now buzzed with a mixture of fear and fascination. The abandoned bank, once a symbol of failure, became a macabre tourist attraction. People came from miles around, hoping to catch a glimpse of the spectral guardian. Psychics and paranormal investigators descended upon the town, eager to unlock the secrets of the haunted bank. They conducted seances, measured electromagnetic fields, and analyzed the security footage. But the answers remained elusive. The bank held its secrets close, a silent testament to a crime that could never be forgotten. The heist had failed, but the legend had just begun. The Shadow Syndicate never recovered from their encounter. The once feared criminal organization, known for their meticulous planning and ruthless execution, was now a mere shadow of its former self. Their downfall was swift and brutal, leaving behind a trail of shattered dreams and broken spirits. Their reputations lay in tatters, replaced by whispers of madness and fear. The streets buzzed with rumors of their misfortune, and the once dominant figures of the underworld were now subjects of pity and scorn. Fearful eyes darted around, always on the lookout for the unseen force that had brought them to their knees. Max, once so cool and calculating, was plagued by nightmares of ghostly hands and icy whispers. His once steely resolve had melted away, replaced by a constant state of paranoia. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind sent shivers down his spine. He could no longer distinguish between reality and the phantoms that haunted his dreams. Rita swore off safe-cracking, haunted by the spectral face of the bank guard. The thrill of the heist had turned into a nightmare she couldn't escape. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the ghostly figure, its eyes burning with an otherworldly fire. The once daring thief was now a shell of her former self, consumed by fear and regret. And Spike, the once imposing figure, was reduced to a whimpering shadow of his former self. The heist had failed. The man who once commanded respect and fear was now a broken soul, haunted by the memories of that fateful night. His strength and bravado had been stripped away, leaving behind a vulnerable and defeated man. The loot was never recovered. The riches they had risked everything for remained untouched, a testament to their failure. The empty vault stood as a silent witness to their downfall, its open door mocking their futile efforts. Some whispered that the ghostly guardian had claimed it, a macabre trophy of his eternal vigil. The legend of the spectral protector grew, adding to the bank's eerie reputation. Tales of the ghostly figure clutching the treasure in its cold, dead hands spread like wildfire, further cementing the bank's status as a place of dread. Others believed it was still hidden somewhere within the bank's walls, guarded by forces unseen. The mystery of the missing loot became an obsession for many, drawing treasure hunters and thrill-seekers to the abandoned bank. But no one ever found it, and those who tried often left with more questions than answers, their minds haunted by the unseen forces at play. Whatever the truth, one thing was certain. The abandoned bank, once a target for greed, had become a symbol of something far more profound. It stood as a monument to the consequences of unchecked ambition and the limits of human power. The overgrown entrance and deserted lobby were a stark reminder of the price of hubris, a chilling reminder that some crimes are beyond the reach of human justice. The scales of justice, covered in cobwebs, symbolized the limitations of the legal system. The gavel, now gathering dust, was a testament to the fact that some wrongs could never be righted by human hands, but not beyond the reach of the unseen hand of fate. The mysterious figure in the hood, the shadowy hand reaching out, all pointed to a higher power at work. Fate had intervened where human justice had failed, ensuring that the guilty paid the price for their actions. The stars seemed to align, writing a story of retribution and balance, a tale of justice served by forces beyond our understanding. As the tale of the haunted heist comes to a close, the shadows retreat, leaving behind a town forever changed. The once bustling streets of the town now carry an air of cautious silence, as if the very ground remembers the footsteps of those who dared to challenge the unknown. The townsfolk, once gripped by fear, now share whispered stories of the spectral guardian that watches over the abandoned bank. Children dare each other to approach its overgrown entrance, their imaginations fueled by the legends that have taken root in the community's collective memory. Even the local authorities, who once dismissed the rumors as mere superstition, now speak of the haunted heist with a mix of awe and trepidation. The bank, once a symbol of human greed, has become a monument to the supernatural forces that lurk just beyond the veil of our understanding. In the aftermath, the town's identity has shifted. It is no longer just a place on the map. It has become a living legend, a story passed down through generations. The abandoned bank stands as a reminder of the limits of human ambition and the mysterious hand of fate that can alter the course of lives in the blink of an eye. If you enjoyed this ghostly tale of crime and terror, please like and subscribe for more spine-chilling stories. Your support helps us bring you more thrilling adventures that will keep you on the edge of your seat.